Good morning, my dear friend. The world is still quiet. The sky carries that pale silver just before sunrise, and the air feels like it is holding its breath. You might hear the first bird, the soft hum of a world about to awaken. There is something sacred about this hour, the in-between, when night has not fully left and daylight has not fully claimed the earth. It is a time when souls seem to listen more carefully, when even the smallest whisper feels eternal. Maybe you have come to this moment not because you feel strong, but because you do not. Perhaps the weight of what you have been carrying has followed you through restless nights, the loss you could not explain, the fear that visits in silence, the disappointment that keeps replaying in your mind. You have smiled for others, carried responsibilities, answered messages, and yet somewhere inside, there is an H that words can't reach. Maybe, like so many, you have found yourself awake far too early, wondering if anyone truly sees the battle within you. I once met someone who did exactly that. Every morning, before the world stirred, she would sit by her window with a mug of untouched coffee, staring at the faint light climbing over the horizon. Her husband had passed away months before, and her prayers had grown thin, more sighs than sentences. One day she told me, "I am not sure what to say anymore, but I still wake up to listen." That simple confession changed something in me. She was not praying for miracles. She was showing up with her brokenness, trusting that being present before God was enough. And in that slow, unseen way, peace began to visit her again, not all at once. Not dramatically, but quietly, like dawn itself. This is why mornings matter. They hold a kind of mercy we can find later in the noise of the day. Each sunrise is proof that yesterday's darkness did not win. Each breath is a new invitation to begin again. No matter what yesterday took from you, joy, courage, certainty this morning offers a different story. You are not beyond renewal. You are not beyond reach. There is a rhythm in the heavens that calls you back every time you forget who you are. Prayer is how we answer that rhythm. It is not about perfect words or polished faith. It is about alignment, letting your spirit breathe in harmony with something far greater than yourself. When we pray, we return to center. We trade panic for peace, confusion for clarity, and isolation for presence. The very act of opening your heart, even trembling, is an act of defiance against despair. So as you listen now, I invite you to pause and truly arrive in this moment. Let the past rest. Let the future wait. Feel the breath that fills your lungs. It is a reminder that life, even after loss, continues to flow through you. Open your hands. Unclench your thoughts. Whatever burden or longing you brought here, you do not have to carry it alone. This morning, heaven leans close. The same power that paints the sunrise has been waiting to speak peace into your soul. Let this time become your meeting place, not a ritual, but a relationship. Let your questions meet His presence. Your awareness meet His strength. Your silence meet His understanding. The morning is not asking you to perform. It is inviting you to be still, to listen, and to rediscover that unbreakable thread of faith woven through your story. Now, with a heart open and unguarded, step gently into prayer. The dawn is waiting. Dear Heavenly Father, in this quiet moment before the sun fully rises, I come before you with a heart that feels both wary and expectant. The night has been long, and though my eyes are open, part of me is still waking from the weight of yesterday. There are thoughts that cling like shadows, questions that keep circling back, and pieces of worry I cannot name, but still feel pressing inside my chest. Yet here I am, at the threshold of morning, breathing in air that feels new, light that feels gentle, and grace that feels possible again. You know how fragile my faith can feel when the world grows heavy. You have seen me whisper hope even when I did not believe it fully. I come now not to impress you with words, but to rest in your presence. This morning, I do not ask for perfection or control. I simply ask for awareness of you in the stillness, awareness of your nearness in the quiet hum of life, beginning again. I want to notice what you are already doing instead of rushing past it. I lift to you the unspoken weight I have carried through the night, the lingering fear, the regret that hums beneath every decision, the disappointment I try not to feel. I confess the moments when I doubted your goodness, when I tried to fix what was never mine to repair. I lay them down now, not because I know how to let go, because I trust that you can hold them better than I can. Help me to loosen my grip, even just a little. Teach me how to breathe again in faith, how to believe that surrender is not the same as defeat. In this early light, I see how easily my heart forgets. I forget how the dawn always comes, how the darkness never lasts forever, how even silence is a language of your care. So remind me again, Lord. Remind me that you are still the same, steady when I am uncertain, patient when I am restless, merciful when I stumble through my own confusion. Let this morning be a return, not just to a routine of prayer, but to relationship. Let it be a remembering that I am not alone, that the one who shaped the sunrise is still shaping me. I open my hands to you now. I release what clutters my spirit: comparison, frustration, fear of the unknown. Let your peace slip through the cracks of my resistance, like light through broken blinds. Replace my restlessness with quiet trust. Replace my self-judgment with gentle honesty. Let the rhythm of my breathing slow until it aligns with yours. As the world awakens outside, awaken something in me too. Awaken the courage to face what I have been avoiding, the softness to forgive where I have held on to blame, the gratitude to see beauty in small things. Let every breath I take remind me that your mercy renews itself with every morning. When I feel lost, guide me back through memory. Remind me of the times you have carried me when I had no strength, of the moments I thought were endings, but became beginnings instead. You know the shape of this day before I even live it. You see where I will go, what I will face, and who I will meet. Prepare my heart to meet each moment with compassion. If challenges arise, give me calm instead of panic. If joy comes, help me not to rush past it in distraction. Let me walk through this day with a quiet awareness that you are near in every breath and every choice. I choose to begin again, not because everything feels fixed, but because your faithfulness has not changed. Let this morning mark a turning, a gentle but steady shift from exhaustion to trust. Where my words fail, let my silence speak of dependence. Where my hope flickers, let your light steady it. Where my strength ends, let your presence begin. This is my first prayer of the day, a simple beginning, a whispered reaching toward you. I do not ask for the path to be easy, only that it be guided. I do not ask to be fearless, only that fear would no longer rule me. I do not ask to have all the answers, only to know that you are in the questions. Let this dawn be a reminder that grace is already unfolding, that newness is already here, and that every sunrise is a quiet promise that you are not finished with me yet. Lord, as the early light stretches across the horizon, I feel you drawing me from silence into honesty. The stillness of the morning reminds me that truth can breathe here, that I can bring you what I have tried to hide from myself. Yesterday's thoughts linger like fog, and my heart still carries the echoes of worry and unfinished questions. Yet, in this moment, I sense you waiting not for perfection, but for truth. You invite me to speak plainly, to name what hurts, to call the shadows by their real names, so that light can begin its quiet work. There are valleys I have walked through that I rarely mention, places where hope felt too fragile to carry. Some were carved by loss I could not prevent, others by choices I made when I did not know better. There are fears that visit me in disguise: fear of being unseen, fear of never being enough, fear that what I have built will crumble. And there is the deep ache of things that never came to be, dreams I buried without ceremony. I bring them here now, not because I want to relive the pain, because I trust that you can touch what I cannot heal. Father, I confess how often I have tried to outthink sorrow, instead of sitting with it. I have filled my days with noise to drown the sound of disappointment. I have laughed when my soul wanted to cry, spoken hope while secretly wondering if it still belonged to me. Yet this morning, I choose a different kind of courage, the courage to be seen as I am. You already know the shape of my struggle. You saw it long before I spoke it. So I open the hidden corners of my life and let your presence enter where silence has ruled for too long. Teach me to see the valley differently. Help me understand that even in low places, you are not absent, that growth often begins underground, where no one sees it. Let me believe that healing does not mean forgetting, but remembering with grace. As I whisper my confessions, let your compassion meet me like sunlight reaching the cold floor of a canyon. Show me that this depth is not punishment, but preparation, not abandonment, but invitation. You, Lord, walk with me even when I lose the map. You sit beside me when words fall apart. You remind me that every sorrow carried in faith becomes a seed for something greater. So I bring you the names of my pain, the friend who left without goodbye, the dream that faded despite effort, the unanswered prayer that still aches. I bring you the questions that begin with why and end with silence. Take them, not to erase them, but to weave them into something I cannot yet see. As I name these valleys, give me new language for them, not language of defeat, but of formation. Let me say, this is where I learned patience. This is where I discovered empathy. This is where pride lost its grip and humility began its bloom. Transform the way I tell my story so that even the painful chapters carry traces of redemption. God, I do not want to rush out of this moment. The world will soon wake with noise and demand. But for now, let me linger where honesty meets mercy. Let your spirit be the quiet wind that moves through the caverns of my heart, carrying out what no longer belongs and making space for hope again. As I breathe, I begin to notice how even the smallest movement toward truth feels like freedom. The heaviness lifts, not all at once, but enough to stand again. I realize that you have not been waiting for my perfection. You have been waiting for my permission. And now, in this surrendered stillness, I give you that space. Let this morning's light find every hidden valley and flood it with grace. Let the wounds I name become places where compassion takes root. Let the fears I admit lose their power in the warmth of your understanding. If tears come, let them be cleansing. If silence follows, let it be holy. For in this naming, I am not breaking down, I am breaking open. And that is where new life begins. Father, the morning grows brighter now, and the still air carries a quiet expectancy. After naming the valleys and laying my pain bare before you, I feel the faint stirring of courage small, but real. It is as if the honesty of confession has cleared a space inside me, a space now ready for your movement. I sense that you are listening, that heaven bends low when a trembling heart dares to speak. And so, from this sacred stillness, I begin to ask. You have told us to knock, and the door will be opened. So here I am, pressing gently against what feels closed. I bring before you the desires that have lived too long in silence. The longings I buried because I feared disappointment. I ask now for your mercy to turn hesitation into holy petition. Let my requests rise, not as demands, but as declarations of trust that you still answer, that your power is still alive in ordinary lives like mine. Lord, I ask first for wisdom the kind that does not only fill the mind, but shapes the heart. Grant me discernment to recognize the difference between what I want and what I need, between timing that is mine and timing that is yours. I ask that you guide every thought that will shape this day, every decision that will ripple beyond what I can see. Let each step I take today be steady, purposeful, and rooted in your will. I pray for open doors where none seem to exist, for opportunities that align with truth, not vanity, for favor that comes not from manipulation, but from your quiet approval. Let the paths I walk today lead me toward peace, not performance. If there are doors I have been forcing open out of fear, close them gently. Protect me from false openings that glitter with distraction. Yet, where you have prepared something new, give me the courage to step through without hesitation. God, I ask you to breathe over the things that have felt lifeless, relationships that have cooled, dreams that have dimmed, faith that has flickered. Touch them again. Let your presence restore vitality where weariness has settled. If I have grown afraid of asking because I feared hearing no, teach me again that your silence is not rejection, but redirection. Let every unanswered prayer become an altar where trust deepens. There are people on my heart this morning, faces that surface in prayer without explanation. For them, too, I ask for doors to open, doors of reconciliation, healing, provision, understanding. Let your favor reach them where my words cannot. If someone is standing at the edge of despair, whisper to their spirit that hope still has breath. If someone feels unworthy to ask, remind them that grace was never earned, only received. Let this moment stretch beyond me, spilling into every life connected to mine. Father, as I ask, remind me that prayer is not a transaction but communion. It is not about convincing you to act, but about aligning my heartbeat with yours. If what I desire is too small, expand my vision. If what I desire is misaligned, correct my aim. If what I desire is delayed, teach me endurance. Let my faith not depend on results, but on relationship. And if your answer today is to wait, let waiting become worship. If your answer is no, let it carry protection I will one day understand. But if your answer is yes, let me receive it with humility, knowing it comes not by merit, but by mercy. Either way, I will keep asking, not because I doubt your will, but because I believe in your goodness. Lord, I ask also for the courage to partner with my own prayers, to act where you nudge, to forgive where you convict, to sow where you promise harvest. Let my words and actions move together, faith breathing through obedience. Show me that prayer is not escape but empowerment, not retreat but readiness. In this hour, I feel a quiet shift. The sky outside glows warmer, and within me something echoes that same awakening. The cry that once felt desperate now feels alive. Not from fear, but from faith. I know that my asking has not disappeared into the void. It has reached the heart of a God who listens. So I keep my heart open, my hands lifted, my voice steady, not shouting, not demanding, but believing that what begins in prayer always moves the unseen. I rest here for a moment longer, knowing the doors I have knocked on may not yet move, but something inside me already has. The act of asking has unlocked courage. The sound of my own voice, lifted to you, has reminded me that hope is not lost. And even before I see what changes, I already feel the hinge turning, the slow and sacred sound of possibility beginning to open. God. The air feels different now. It is as if my asking has loosened something deep inside me, but not yet released it completely. I can still feel the tension in my chest, the instinct to hold on, the quiet fear that if I let go, everything might fall apart. The morning light is brighter now, stretching across the room like an invitation to trust, and yet my heart hesitates. There is a part of me that still wants control, still wants certainty, still wants to direct the outcome of what I prayed for. But here, in this space between surrender and striving, you meet me again. Father, you know how tightly I have held the reins of my own story. How many times I have whispered that I trust you, while secretly rehearsing backup plans in my mind. How often I have prayed for peace, but refused to stop wrestling. You know every place where my grip has grown white-knuckled on people I can fix. On outcomes I can predict. On timelines I keep trying to rush. I realize that the more I try to control, the less I can breathe. And the less I breathe, the farther I drift from the very presence that gives me life. So now, Lord, I pause and simply open my hands. It feels small, but it is a beginning. I imagine the weight I have been holding, worries about tomorrow, regrets from yesterday, expectations that feel heavier than hope, and I release them into the light of this new day. Not because I am strong enough, but because I am tired enough to stop pretending I have to be. I whisper to my heart, let go, and I whisper again until it begins to listen. You never asked me to manage everything. You only asked me to trust. And trust is not a passive waiting, it is a living surrender, a decision to believe that your plans are still good, even when I cannot see their shape. Teach me that release is not loss, but freedom, that surrender is not weakness, but alignment, that when I open my hands, I make room for you to place something better there. I confess, Lord, that part of me fears what will happen when I stop controlling. I fear emptiness, as if letting go means having nothing left. But you remind me that the space I clear is not void. It is sacred. It is the very place where grace begins to flow. So help me unclench not only my hands, but my mind, my expectations, my habits of anxiety. Help me breathe deeply again, as if this act of letting go is its own kind of prayer. In this surrender, I find the quiet strength I had been missing. It is not the strength of doing, but the strength of being held. I feel it in the steadiness of my heartbeat, in the rhythm of the morning unfolding outside my window. You are here not waiting on my perfection, but on my permission to let you lead. The world still spins, problems still exist, but something shifts in me as I release the illusion that I am in charge of everything. Father, I give you my unfinished plans, the ones that keep me up at night. I give you the people I have been trying to protect with my own fear. I give you the emotions I can't seem to name. And as I give, I begin to notice that peace does not always come as a wave. Sometimes it arrives as a slow unwinding, a loosening of the tension that once ruled my spirit. It is gentle, but it is real. Show me how to live with open hands throughout the day. When control tempts me again, remind me of this moment, the softness in my palms, the quiet steadiness that comes when I stop forcing outcomes. Let surrender become a rhythm, not a one-time act. Teach me to trust in movement, in flow, in your timing that never hurries and never delays. Let my confidence rest not in what I can predict, but in who you are. I think of how flowers turn toward the light without striving, how rivers find their way without maps. Let me be like that today, responsive, not resistant. Let me follow the current of your will with grace, knowing that even if I drift into uncertainty, you remain the steady shore. When fear whispers that surrender is foolish, remind me that you have always turned release into redemption. Every story of faith began with letting go. So I exhale again, slowly, deliberately. I let go of needing to know how the story ends. I let go of the urge to rush what is still unfolding. I let go of carrying what was never mine to carry. And in the space that remains, I feel the quiet pulse of trust rising again. This morning, I choose rest over resistance, yielding over striving, faith over control. And maybe that is enough for now, not answers, not guarantees. Just this quiet agreement between my heart and yours. The day will unfold as it must, and I will walk through it with open hands, believing that whatever comes, I do not face it alone. Lord, the stillness that followed my surrender feels fragile, like mist after rain. My hands are open, but my thoughts still crowd the silence. I can feel them forming again, half-remembered worries, unfinished, honest conversations, imagined outcomes that pull my attention away from peace. My heart may have unclenched, yet my mind still tries to gather what I just released. You know this struggle inside me, the constant motion of thoughts that will not rest. And so, I come to you again, asking not for answers but for calm. Father, teach me how to clear the weather of my mind. Some days it feels like a storm that never fully passes, lightning flashes of anxiety, wind gusts of distraction, clouds of doubt that block out the sun. But I believe that you can still the chaos inside me as you once calmed the sea. One word from you, one whisper of truth, and even my wildest thoughts must quiet down. Help me remember that peace is not the absence of thought, but the order you bring to it. I admit, God, that my thoughts often run faster than my faith. They race toward worst-case endings. They echo old fears. They magnify what is small and overlook what is beautiful. I catch myself replaying words that hurt, rewriting moments that are long gone, imagining futures that have not yet arrived. My mind becomes a battlefield where I fight shadows that do not exist. Yet you call me to step back, to let truth speak louder than imagination. You call me to trust that not every thought deserves a response. Not every fear deserves my attention. So here, in this quiet hour, I bring you the noise within. I bring you the opinions of others that have tangled my peace. I bring you the harsh words I say to myself. I bring you the invisible expectations that press against my chest like a weight I never agreed to carry. Wash them away, one by one, until all that remains is clarity. Let my inner world become like the morning sky after rain, fresh, transparent, unburdened. Remind me, Lord, that what I dwell on becomes what I believe. If I meditate on scarcity, I live as though love will run out. If I repeat the language of fear, my faith shrinks to fit it. But when I set my thoughts on you, on goodness, truth, beauty, and mercy, something shifts. My mind becomes a garden again, not a storm. Seeds of peace begin to grow where anxiety once ruled. Help me to tend that garden carefully today, to choose what thoughts I water and what weeds I pull. Father, let this be my practice to pause before I react, to breathe before I speak, to listen before I assume. Let me recognize when my mind drifts toward chaos and gently guide it back to you. Give me the discipline to replace complaint with gratitude, comparison with contentment, self-criticism with grace. Let every thought become an offering, every idea filtered through kindness. I know there will be moments today when the noise returns. The world will demand quick answers. The news will shout of fear. People will speak from their own storms. But teach me to carry stillness with me, like inner sanctuary. Let your peace be the steady rhythm behind every thought. When confusion tries to rise, remind me that truth is not a puzzle to solve, but a presence to rest in. You have given me the power to choose what occupies my mind. So I choose truth over worry, love over suspicion, presence over distraction. I choose to notice the beauty. I once overlooked the warmth of sunlight through a window, the softness of someone's voice, the miracle of breath that continues without command. These simple things anchor me in reality, the reality of your goodness that does not shift with my emotions. God, I ask for wisdom to discern what deserves my attention today. Show me how to focus on what matters and release what drains me. Let my mind become a vessel of clarity, a space where faith can grow freely. When uncertainty knocks, let peace answer the door. When fear whispers its false stories, let your truth rewrite the narrative. When temptation comes to overthink, remind me that silence can be stronger than speech. The morning sun climbs higher, scattering gold across the walls, and I feel its warmth spreading through me like reassurance. My mind begins to settle, no longer rushing ahead or clinging behind. I realize that clarity is not something to achieve, it is what remains when everything unnecessary fades. You are here in this stillness, steady as the horizon, patient as light. So I rest my thoughts in you now. I release the need to control understanding, the obsession with certainty, the clutter of opinions that cloud perception. Let my mind be quiet enough to hear wisdom when it comes, humble enough to learn, and open enough to wonder. May the inner weather shift from restless winds to gentle air, from thunder to soft rain, from confusion to calm. And when this day unfolds, let me carry that calm like sunlight within, illuminating everything I see. Father, as my mind grows still beneath your peace, I begin to sense another quiet need rising within me, the longing to remember who I truly am. It feels like the next breath after the storm of thought, a whisper that says there is more to me than my worries, more than my mistakes, more than the roles I rush to fill. The morning air feels lighter, and yet somewhere deep inside, I realize how often I forget the name you gave me when the noise of the world grows too loud. Lord, it is easy to lose myself in all the labels others have spoken. Some call me capable, others call me not enough. Some see strength, others see failure. And in trying to be everything to everyone, I have at times become no one at all. You see through that confusion. You know the person underneath the expectations, the heart that longs to please but grows tired of pretending. You know how many times I have looked for worth in achievement, in approval, in comparison, only to end up emptier than before. I bring that hunger to you now, not to be praised, but to be known. You remind me, Father, that my value was decided long before I performed, long before I succeeded, long before I failed. It was written into me when you breathed life into dust. I am not the sum of what I do, nor the echo of what others say. I am yours, shaped by purpose, sustained by grace. I forget this truth when the world demands more proof than peace, when every scroll of a screen whispers that I am behind, when every silence feels like disapproval. But here, in this stillness, you quiet those lies and speak identity back into my bones. Let me hear it clearly again. Lord, I am not overlooked. I am chosen. I am not abandoned. I am beloved. I am not a project to fix. I am a creation still unfolding under your care. My worth does not waver with mood or mistake. My belonging is not revoked by weakness. Teach me to rest in that truth so deeply that nothing outside of it can shake me. God, I confess how easily I trade this truth for imitation. I chase versions of myself that look successful but feel hollow. I wear confidence like armor instead of authenticity like skin. I build images that protect me from rejection, but also keep love from reaching me. Free me from that cycle. Strip away every mask that hides the beauty you already placed within me. Let my spirit breathe in honesty again, no performance, no pretense. Just presence. When I stand before you, I want to remember that being known is not something to fear. You see every weakness and still call me worthy. You see every failure and still call me yours. There is no part of me that scares you away. Help me to see myself through your eyes, patient. Redeemed. Becoming. Where I see brokenness, let me see potential. Where I see shame, let me see growth. Where I see the past as a stain, let me see it as soil where grace took root. Father, let my identity today be anchored, not drifting. When the world measures me by success, let me measure myself by faithfulness. When people misunderstand me, let me rest in the truth that you never do. When my reflection shows exhaustion or uncertainty, remind me that worth has nothing to do with appearance, but with the image I bear, your image, living quietly beneath every flaw. You are the one who defines me, and that definition never changes. I am not lost. I am learning. I am not weak. I am being refined. I am not forgotten. I am being formed. Let these truths echo louder than the accusations of self-doubt. Let them become the rhythm of my day, the pulse of my decisions, the calm beneath every challenge. Sometimes I think identity is something to find, but now I see it as something to remember. It is already here, beneath the layers of fear and comparison. You placed it there from the beginning, waiting for me to notice. So, Father, awaken that memory. Let my soul rise in quiet confidence, not built on pride but on peace. Let me walk through this day unafraid, to be who you made to be, gentle yet strong, humble yet bold, flawed yet faithful. When I speak, let authenticity color my words. When I work, let purpose, not pressure, guide my hands. When I rest, let acceptance cradle my heart instead of guilt. And when doubts return, as they always do, let your truth meet them at the door and remind them that I belong to a kingdom not measured by perfection, but by grace. The morning has fully bloomed now, sunlight spreading softly across the ground. It feels like you are writing my name in that light, not a new name, but the original one I had forgotten. I can almost hear it, steady and sure, spoken not in thunder but in tenderness. You call me beloved, and the sound of it steadies me. I will carry that name with me into this day, letting it shape how I speak, how I act, how I see others. For if I am known and loved like this, then every encounter becomes an opportunity to reflect that same love outward. And so I breathe deeply once more, feeling identity settle not as an idea, but as a heartbeat. I know who I am because I know whose I am. And in that knowing, the world feels a little less heavy. And this morning feels like a beginning again. Father, as the light grows stronger through the window, I feel a gentler stirring inside, a quiet call toward healing. The peace that came from knowing who I am has opened new space within me. And in that space, I find the H's I once buried. They rise softly now, not to overwhelm, but to be seen. I realize how much I have carried in silence, how many wounds I have learned to work around rather than bring to you. The body remembers, the heart remembers, even when the mind insists it has moved on. So I bring it all here, what still aches, what still echoes, and I ask you to begin your tender work again. Lord, I know that healing is rarely instant. It comes like the morning first light, then warmth, then color slowly returning to things thought lifeless. Help me not to rush what you are doing in me. Teach me to trust the pace of your mercy. I want to believe that even what hurts can be holy ground, that pain can be a doorway rather than a prison. Some days, I still flinch at the thought of reopening old wounds, but I remember now that you do not expose to shame, you reveal to restore. You are not a surgeon who cuts to harm, but one who heals with precision, who knows exactly how deep to go. Father, I confess the ways I have tried to heal myself through distraction, through denial, through pretending I was fine. I have plastered over cracks with business and called it strength. But beneath the surface, my soul still trembles where the breaks remain. I do not want a quick fix anymore. I want wholeness, even if it takes time. I give you permission to touch the places that still hurt, to wash away bitterness that hardened into scar tissue, to soften the memories that still sting. Let your spirit move gently but surely, bringing light to every hidden bruise. You know the wounds I cannot name aloud, the betrayals that left me cautious, the words that lingered like arrows, the seasons where silence felt like abandonment. You see the scars that others call healed, but still ache when the weather changes. You know the disappointment that taught me to expect less. And still, you reach for me not with judgment, but with compassion. You call me to look at my pain, not as evidence of failure, but as proof that I have lived, loved, and survived. God, remind me that healing does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without fear. It means being able to touch what once burned and find warmth instead of fire. It means choosing grace where resentment used to grow. So I choose it now. Even trembling, I forgive those who wounded me, not because it was easy or fair, but because I refuse to let the wound define me. I forgive myself, too, for what I did not know, for the ways I hurt others while trying to protect myself, for the seasons I mistook survival for peace. Let that forgiveness flow freely, washing away every trace of self-condemnation. As you mend me, Lord, teach me to cooperate with the process. Help me rest when I want to strive, breathe when I want to panic, and hope when I want to hide. Remind me that growth is quiet and often unseen. A seed does not demand proof of its progress, it simply trusts the soil. So I will trust the soil of your grace, believing that even in the dark, you are working. Let patience become my companion as I wait for newness to take root. There are parts of me that still resist, that cling to familiar pain because it feels safer than change. But you are patient with those places too. You never force transformation. You invite it. You wait at the door of every closed room in my heart, knocking softly until I am ready to open it. So here and now, I open one more door. I let your light enter where fear once lived. I let kindness replace the old narrative of unworthiness. Father, as you heal me, make me a source of healing for others. Let the compassion born from my pain become a language that speaks life to those still struggling. Let my story be proof that broken things can still carry light. When I meet others who are weary, let me listen instead of lecture. Let me offer presence instead of advice. Teach me that healing shared becomes multiplied. That comfort given becomes strength returned. I know the work is not finished yet. There will be days when old wounds ache again, when grief visits like an uninvited guest. But even then, I will not despair, because now I know that pain is not a punishment, it is an unfinished prayer. One you are still answering. I will not hide from it. I will bring it back to you as often as it returns, and each time, I trust that your hands will be steady, your voice gentle, your grace enough. The morning has grown into full light now, and everything outside glows with quiet resilience. The trees stand where storms once broke them, and I see in them a reflection of what you are doing in me. Not erasing the evidence of the struggle, but making it beautiful in its endurance. You are not only healing my wounds, you are teaching them to sing. So I sit here in this brightness, breathing easier than before. I can feel the slow mending happening deep beneath words. Beyond thought, it is steady, sacred work, the kind that lasts. And as I let this truth settle in, I realize that healing is not a destination I will arrive at one day. It is a rhythm I will live inside of. One breath, one surrender, one layer at a time. Lord, as healing begins to breathe through me, I can sense the subtle weight of things still clinging to my spirit, those quiet habits, buried fears, and invisible loyalties that keep me tethered to what you have already called me to leave behind. It is strange how the heart can heal yet still hesitate, how freedom can be promised yet still feel incomplete. I feel your gentle urging now, not harsh or hurried, but clear. It is time to release what remains hidden, to cut loose what no longer leads toward life. Father, you know the quiet compromises I have carried, the patterns that masquerade as comfort but quietly drain my strength. You have seen how often I have returned to the same thoughts, the same cycles of doubt, as though circling a locked door whose key I already hold. Some of these chains were forged by pain, others were shaped by fear of the unknown. I confess them before you, not to dwell in guilt, but to finally stop pretending they do not exist. You cannot heal what I still hide, and I no longer want to hide. There are habits of mind, Lord, that have disguised themselves as safety. The need to control, the impulse to please, the quiet resentment I disguise as reason. They have been familiar companions, but they are not friends of peace. Today I ask you to expose their roots. Show me what they have cost me, how much joy I have traded for false stability, how much purpose I have delayed in the name of comfort. Let the light of your truth uncover the difference between what sustains me and what enslaves me. Father, break the invisible agreements I have made with fear. Break the silent vows I whispered in moments of disappointment, vows like I will never trust again, or I will never be hurt like that. I see now how those promises, made to protect myself, became prisons instead. Tear them down gently, Lord, and replace them with truth. Teach me to trust again, not because people are perfect, but because you are faithful. Teach me to hope again, not because life is predictable, because your goodness does not fail. There are also voices from the past that still echo in Might's words spoken in anger, labels I began to believe, memories that replay without invitation. I bring them to you now and ask you to silence their power. Let the volume of grace rise higher than every insult. Every accusation, every lie that has ever shaped how I see myself, where shame once whispered unworthy, let your spirit declare free. Lord, I know that freedom begins not in the absence of struggle, but in the decision to walk away from what no longer fits the person you are forming in me. So today, I choose to walk forward, even if my steps tremble. I choose to lay down excuses that sound noble but keep me stuck. I choose to believe that you have more for me than survival, that I was made for joy, for purpose, for light. Let that belief take root deeper than any habit of fear. As I pray, I can feel the tug of old attachments, the comfort of what is known, even when it hurts. But you are patient, Lord, and your freedom is not forced. You invite me to participate in it, one surrender at a time. So I name what I release: resentment toward those who misunderstood me, guilt for not being enough, dependence on the approval of others, and the quiet envy that steals contentment. Each one I set down, and with every release, I feel my spirit lighten. Father, teach me to guard the freedom you restore. Let me not run back to captivity out of habit. When my mind starts to replay the familiar, remind me that repetition is not redemption. When I am tempted to return to lesser loves, whisper truth into my hesitation. You are made for more than this. Let my boundaries be firm but not bitter, my heart open but no longer naive. Let wisdom replace fear and discernment replace reaction. I ask, too, that you would fill the space once occupied by these chains. Freedom without filling becomes vulnerability. So pour your spirit into every newly emptied place, where anxiety once lived. Plant peace, where self-doubt took root. Plant courage, where regret lingered. Plant hope. Let my soul not just be cleansed, but inhabited by your strength, your clarity, your joy. And when I encounter others still bound by their own hidden chains, help me not to judge but to understand. Let me become a quiet witness to what freedom looks like not flawless, but faithful. Let my words carry the sound of release, and my presence remind others that it is possible to begin again. The sun climbs higher now, and the morning feels lighter than it did before. The air seems to move more freely, as though the world itself is breathing easier. Maybe it is just my spirit aligning with the rhythm of heaven, learning that freedom is not loud but steady. It is the soft certainty that nothing can hold me, where grace has already unlocked the door. So I breathe deeply once more and walk into this day with open hands and an untangled heart. I may not see the full picture yet, but I know this much: the chains have lost their power, and I am learning to live unbound. Father, as I step further into this morning light, I feel a quiet confidence taking root where fear once lived. The freedom you have awakened in me is tender and new, like wings still drying after the storm. I know I will need protection to walk in this newness, to guard what you have planted before the noise of the day tries to trample it. The world outside these walls is unpredictable, filled with moments that test faith, challenge peace, and stir old doubts to life again. So before I take another step, I ask you to cover me, not with walls that isolate, but with the invisible strength that surrounds from within, the kind that shields without hardening the heart. Lord, be the shield I cannot build myself. I can defend with words, plans, and willpower, but none of these last when the pressure mounts. I have learned how easily self-protection turns into self-sabotage, how striving to control outcomes only opens the door to fear again. I do not want to live guarded out of distrust. I want to walk protected through connection. You are not a distant defender. You are the presence that walks beside me. So wrap your peace around my spirit the way dawn wraps light around the earth, quietly, completely, without struggle. As I move through this day, guard my mind from distraction and deception. Let every false voice lose its power the moment it speaks. The world is loud, and not every sound deserves attention. When worry tries to disguise itself as wisdom, remind me of truth. When comparison whispers, silence it with gratitude. When temptation comes dressed as comfort, expose its emptiness. Build a stronghold of discernment around my thoughts, not to make me rigid, but to keep me rooted. Let your truth be the filter through which I see every situation. Father, protect my heart too. It feels open now, tender from healing, unguarded in the best way, but I know how quickly old fears can return. Keep me soft without letting me be swept away. Guard me from cynicism disguised as maturity, from apathy pretending to be peace. Let compassion remain my strength, even when it costs something. Protect the purity of my motives. Let my kindness never become a strategy, my generosity never a performance. Teach me that real strength is not the absence of vulnerability, but the courage to remain kind when it would be easier to withdraw. I also ask, Lord, for protection over the people I will meet today. Some will come with burdens they once voice, with hearts heavy but faces calm. Let my presence be safe for them. Keep me from speaking carelessly or acting without awareness. Protect me from becoming the source of another's pain. And if I meet hostility or misunderstanding, remind me that I am not called to win arguments, but to carry peace. Give me patience when others rush, grace when others judge, and humility when I am tempted to prove myself. God, protect my path from what I cannot foresee. There will be interruptions, delays, detours I would never plan. Let me meet them not as threats, but as redirections. Keep me alert but not anxious, prepared but not paranoid. If danger waits ahead, turn me gently away from it. If difficulty must come, walk me through it without losing my composure. Let me remember that protection is not the absence of challenge, it is your nearness within it. Protect, too, the work of my hands. Let every task I touch today be guided by integrity. Keep my focus steady and my intentions clean. When fatigue tries to dull my clarity, refresh my strength. When pride tries to sneak in through accomplishment, bring humility quickly. Let every effort bear the mark of your presence, rather than my striving. Remind me that success without peace is failure in disguise, and that true accomplishment is measured in faithfulness, not applause. Father, I ask you to extend your protection over my home and those I love. Let your peace linger in every corner, turning ordinary rooms into places of rest. Guard the hearts of those under this roof from fear, from conflict, from hopelessness. Surround this space with the quiet assurance that we are watched over, that no darkness has the final word here. Let laughter fill what once held worry. Let unity cover what once felt divided. And when we step out into the world, let the same covering go with us, unseen yet unbreakable. I know, Lord, that some battles are invisible. There are spiritual weights that cannot be explained, but can be felt: the heaviness of discouragement, the shadow of doubt, the slow erosion of joy. Shield me in those unseen places. When discouragement tries to settle in, lift my head. Fatigue threatens to drain faith. Let hope rise quietly like breath. When I cannot see your hand, let me still trust your heart. Remind me that protection is not a bubble of ease, but a promise of presence. You do not always remove the storm, but you never leave me in it alone. And so I step into this day covered not in fear but in faith, covered not by armor that isolates, but by grace that surrounds. I do not know what waits beyond the next moment, but I know who walks into it with me. You are my shield that does not rust, my refuge that does not crumble, my defense that does not depend on strength I do not have. The morning sun has climbed high enough now to fill the whole room, touching everything it finds. Its warmth feels like reassurance, a gentle reminder that even the unseen shield leaves traces of light. Take that light with me, knowing that wherever I go, your presence goes first. I carry peace like a cloak, invisible yet certain, woven from every prayer whispered in this quiet hour. I may not see the battles that are being turned away, the dangers already deflected, but I trust that you are working beyond sight. And that is enough for me. So I rise now into the day with confidence, not because I am invincible, but because I am held. Every step, every breath, every moment unfolds beneath your watchful care, and in that truth, fear loses its language, worry loses its weight, and I walk forward protected by love that never fails. Lord, the peace of your protection still lingers in me like a gentle cloak, and as I prepare to step into the rhythm of this day, I feel the quiet awareness that every moment will ask for wisdom. The big decisions may be rare, but the small ones are constant, shaping who I become when no one is watching. I know how easily I can be pulled by impulse, how quickly I can chase what glitters but does not last. So before the world's noise grows louder, I ask you for discernment, the kind that steadies me in both the ordinary and the profound. Father, you know how easily I confuse motion with meaning. I fill my hours with effort and call it progress. Yet sometimes I miss the gentle nudge of your direction. I have mistaken urgency for importance, noise for truth, business for purpose. Teach me to pause before I decide, to listen beneath the surface of circumstances for the quiet, wet wisdom you whisper. Help me to act not from pressure, but from peace. Let my choices reflect alignment, not anxiety. There are crossroads I face each day that may seem small, a conversation to start or avoid, a word to speak or swallow, a door to open or close, but I have seen how such moments can carry weight far beyond their size. Give me the kind of wisdom that recognizes significance in simplicity. Help me sense when to stay silent and when to speak, when to stand firm and when to yield, when to wait and when to move. Let my instinct be shaped by intimacy with you, not by fear of consequence. God, grant me wisdom that protects without isolating, that corrects without condemning. Let it be gentle enough to build bridges, yet strong enough to uphold truth. Teach me that real wisdom is not cleverness or calculation. It is clarity guided by love. I do not want to win every argument. I want to live rightly. I do not want to always be certain. I want to be humble enough to learn. Replace my need to be right with a desire to be kind, and my need to control outcomes with trust that you are already in them. When emotions surge and decisions blur, Remind me that wisdom is born from stillness. Not panic. Let me step back before I react. Breathe before I judge. Pray before I plan. Help me discern the motives behind my thoughts when I act to be seen, when I speak to defend, when I choose from fear instead of faith. Expose what is false before it hardens into habit. Keep my spirit sensitive to your prompting, even when it leads against the current of popular opinion. Father, I ask also for wisdom in how I treat others today. Let me see beyond the surface of their actions to the stories that shape them. When someone speaks in anger, help me hear their pain instead of reacting to their tone. When someone disappoints me, help me remember how often grace has covered me. Let my understanding outpace my judgment, and let compassion always find a place in my response. Teach me to honor others even when we disagree, to see each person as a reflection of the same image I bear. Give me wisdom, too, in how I use my words. You have shown me that words can wound or heal with equal power. Let mine carry calm instead of chaos, truth without cruelty, conviction without arrogance. Let my language today be careful but not fearful, honest but not harsh. May every conversation become an opportunity to plant peace. And Lord, in matters of work and responsibility, grant me wisdom to balance diligence with dependence. Keep me from confusing effort with control. Remind me that excellence is not about perfection, but about intention. Let me give my best without worshiping the result. Show me how to make decisions that honor people as much as they honor plans. When uncertainty rises, remind me that faith and logic are not enemies, they are companions when led by truth. There are times, God, when I will not know what to do, when both paths seem right or neither feels clear. In those moments, be the lamp that lights the next step, not the floodlight that shows the whole road. Teach me to move forward, even with partial vision, trusting that obedience will reveal what clarity cannot. Let patience become my strategy and peace my confirmation. As I pray, I feel the morning shift again, the day outside now alive with sound and motion. The quiet hours giving way to the pulse of the world. Yet I want to carry this stillness into everything I touch. I do not want to leave wisdom behind in prayer. I want it to walk beside me in meetings, in conversations, in interruptions I did not expect. I want it to be the compass that points me back to you each time I drift toward confusion. Father, thank you for reminding me that wisdom is not a possession, but a posture. It grows in those who stay teachable, who admit they do not know it all, who return daily to the source. Keep me humble enough to ask for guidance again tomorrow, for I know today's wisdom will not be enough for the next challenge. Let me remain dependent, not desperate, confident, not careless. The light outside now spills across everything it touches, and I feel that same illumination reaching within me. It is quiet but alive, the kind of clarity that does not shout but settles. I know I will make mistakes, but I also know you will meet me there, turning even wrong turns into redirection. So I breathe, steady and slow, ready to enter the day. Wisdom will not make me perfect, but it will keep me aligned. And that, Father, is enough for me to begin. Father, the wisdom you have given me begins to steady my steps, but now I feel you turning my attention towards something even closer, the power that lives inside my own mouth. Every word I speak has the ability to plant peace or ignite harm. I know this, yet how easily I forget. So often my tongue moves faster than my heart, and I find myself saying things that leave quiet damage in their wake. As I breathe in the calm of this morning, I ask you to touch my words before they touch the world. Lord, you understand the weight of speech better than anyone. Creation itself began with your voice. And still, each day, words shape the atmosphere we live in. I think about how many times my words have filled rooms with tension or brought comfort. How many hearts I have unknowingly lifted or wounded just by the tone I chose. I do not want to speak carelessly anymore. Teach me to recognize that silence can be holy, that restraint can be as sacred as eloquence. Let my language today become a reflection of the grace I have received. Father, help me to pause before I answer. When irritation flickers, when pride tries to justify sharpness, place a gentle hand on my lips. Let my first instinct not be to defend, but to discern. I want to speak from peace, not from pain. I want my words to carry healing, not heaviness. Where once I reacted to be right, let me now respond to build bridges. Where once I used speech to control, let me now use it to serve. You know, Lord, that I am surrounded by voices online, in conversations, in passing thoughts all competing to be heard. The world shouts to prove, to persuade, to overpower. Yet you remind me that truth rarely needs volume. It needs purity. Help me not to add to the noise. Let my speech today be slow, intentional, anchored in kindness. When I speak, let people feel seen, not sized up. When I stay silent, let my stillness hold safety, not judgment. God, show me how to speak with both courage and compassion. There are moments when truth must be told, even when it trembles. Give me the strength to say what is right without cruelty, to confront without crushing, to teach without boasting. Let my tone carry the weight of love more than the sharpness of certainty. Keep me from using truth as a weapon. Let it instead be light that reveals gently, never scorching what is fragile. In moments of conversation, remind me that every person I speak with is fighting battles I cannot see. Let empathy guide my phrasing. If I must correct, let it be wrapped in patience. If I must disagree, let it be clothed in dignity. Let no word that leaves my mouth carry poison. Let each one become a seed of peace. Protect me from sarcasm that masks insecurity, from gossip that disguises curiosity, from exaggeration that feeds ego. Let honesty be my rhythm and humility my melody. Father, I ask you also to guard the words I speak to myself. For sometimes the most destructive sentences are the ones that never leave my mind. I replay mistakes, narrate failure, call myself names you never gave me. Break that inner script. Replace self-criticism with truth. Let my thoughts echo what you have already said, that I am loved, capable, chosen, and forgiven. If I must speak inwardly, let it be prayer, not punishment. Let the language I use toward others mirror the grace I learn here in silence. When I speak to those I love, let tenderness lead. When I speak to those I barely know, let respect anchor every syllable. When I speak to those who oppose me, let dignity remain unbroken. Even in frustration, let kindness survive. And when words fail, when silence becomes the only honest thing left, let my presence still communicate peace. Father, help me to see that language is a stewardship, not a possession. Every sentence is a chance to lift someone closer to hope or to weigh them down further in despair. Give me the awareness to choose the first. Let my laughter carry light instead of mockery. My advice carry gentleness instead of pride. Let my storytelling honor truth, not embellish it for effect. Let me never use words to gain attention at the cost of someone else's dignity. As the morning deepens and life begins to stir beyond these quiet walls, I think of all the conversations waiting to unfold today, the quick greetings, the hard discussions, the unexpected encounters. I ask that every one of them be seasoned with grace. Let my words fit the moment, not overpower it. Let what I say echo long after I leave, not because of eloquence, but because it carried sincerity. And Lord, when I fail, when impatience slips through, when I speak before thinking, teach me to repair quickly. Let humility be swifter than regret. Give me the strength to apologize without defensiveness and to listen without rehearsing my response. Make my speech an ongoing practice of redemption, where even mistakes become opportunities for reconciliation. Now the sunlight outside has turned bright, spreading warmth across everything it touches. It reminds me that light, too, is a language spoken without sound, yet deeply understood. I want my words to do the same. To illuminate, to comfort, to remind others of what goodness still exists. May each word today rise from that desire to build, not burn, to bless, not bruise. Let my speech be a quiet reflection of the love that first spoke the world into being. Still speaking, still shaping, even now. Father, as my words settle into stillness, I feel your gaze turning me toward the hours ahead, the part of the day where prayer must take form through effort. The world beyond these walls has awakened. Engines hum, doors open, and people step into the rhythm of labor. It is there, in the ordinary motion of tasks and responsibilities, that I now want your presence most. I bring you my hands, my schedule, and the work waiting to be done. Let none of it be separate from you. Lord, I confess that sometimes I forget work is holy. I treat it as survival, or obligation, or proof of worth. Yet you see it differently. You shaped creation not in haste, but with intention. And you called it good. Remind me that what I do today, however simple or unseen, can also be good if done with love. Help me to see meaning where fatigue tries to blind me. Transform each task from routine into offering, from duty into devotion. Let every movement of my hands carry quiet reverence. Father, I ask you to bless the work that will pass through me. Today, the words I write, the conversations I hold, the decisions I make. Let integrity guide my unseen actions. Diligence steady my pace, and kindness temper my strength. Protect me from the pride that seeks recognition, and from the fear that doubts its value. Teach me to pursue excellence, not applause. Let me remember that success is not measured by numbers or approval, but by faithfulness. There are moments, Lord, when work feels heavy, when deadlines chase peace away, when effort goes unnoticed, when results seem small compared to the energy spent. In those moments, whisper to my heart that you see what others miss. You measure not the size of the outcome, but the sincerity of the offering. When exhaustion comes, let gratitude be the oil that keeps the flame alive. Let me find satisfaction in obedience rather than perfection. God, keep me honest in the small things. Let integrity be consistent, even when no one is watching. Help me to treat every task, from the grand to the mundane, as a reflection of who I serve. Whether I hold a pen, a tool, a steering wheel, or the hand of another, let me do it with care. Remind me that your presence is not confined to temples or quiet rooms. It lives in the workshop, The classroom, the kitchen, the office, every place touched by purpose becomes sacred ground. Father, I ask you to sanctify the rhythm of my labor. When I start, let me begin with clarity. When I continue, let me endure with patience. When I pause, let me breathe with gratitude. When I finish, let me rest without regret. Let my productivity never cost my peace, and let my ambition never outrun my compassion. Teach me to value progress over performance, faithfulness over speed. There are people I will work beside today, some wary, some distracted, some quietly longing for encouragement. Let my presence bring calm, not pressure. Let my collaboration build, not compete. Give me eyes to notice who is struggling beneath their silence. A kind word may not change their workload, but it might lighten their spirit. Make me generous with praise and slow to criticize. Let my tone carry respect that reminds others of their worth. Lord, protect me from the idolatry of business. Remind me that constant motion is not always purpose, and exhaustion is not always success. When I am tempted to prove my value through productivity, call me back to rest in being rather than doing. Teach me the sacred art of stopping, not out of laziness, but as recognition that life does not depend on my effort alone. Even in my most diligent moments, you remain the one who multiplies the work of my hands. I bring before you the tasks I have been avoiding, the projects I fear will expose my weakness. Replace anxiety with courage, hesitation with discipline. Show me that the strength to complete what I start comes not from self-confidence, but from reliance on you. Let my work become a quiet collaboration between heaven and earth, my effort joined with your guidance, my will surrendered to your wisdom. And when failure visits, as it sometimes does, let me not spiral into shame. Let me see it as a teacher, not an enemy. Remind me that mistakes can refine skill, that disappointment can deepen humility. Help me rise with grace, try again with patience, and keep moving with hope. Let resilience be the evidence of faith, not stubborn pride. Now the morning has ripened fully, and sunlight pours over everything it touches. The day stretches wide with opportunity and unknown turns, but my heart feels ready, not rushed, not anxious, simply steady. You have reminded me that work is not a punishment. It is participation in your ongoing creation. I am not merely maintaining life. I am shaping it with you, one act at a time. So, Father, let my hands build what is true. Let them repair, not destroy. Uplift, not exploit. Let them carry grace into every task. May my work today become prayer in motion, my diligence a hymn, my rest an act of faith. And when the evening comes, may I look back not with pride, but with quiet gratitude, knowing I met the day not alone, but accompanied every effort held within your sustaining presence. Father, as the rhythm of work steadies and the day stretches forward, my thoughts drift to the place where life truly begins and returns home. Beyond every task and every goal, it is there that my soul learns the quiet language of love, the walls that hold laughter and silence alike, the table where bread is broken and hearts are tested. This is sacred ground too. And so I come to you now, not to ask for great achievements, but to ask for grace to love well those closest to me. Lord, you know the beauty and the tension that live side by side within families. You have watched the conversations that start in warmth and end in misunderstanding. You have seen the ways we speak without listening, the ways we drift though we share the same roof. You know how love left unattended, begins to wear thin. I bring to you the people who share my days, not as perfect companions, but as the mirrors through which I learn compassion, patience, and humility. Bless them, Father, each one by name. God, I ask for peace to fill my home, not a silence that hides wounds, but a peace that heals them. Let it begin in me. When irritation stirs, remind me to breathe before I respond. When exhaustion shortens my temper, teach me to choose gentleness over reaction. Let kindness be the tone of my speech, even when truth must be spoken. Protect my family from the subtle cruelty of indifference, from words left unsaid, from love assumed but not expressed. Help me remember that affection, like bread, must be shared daily or it grows stale. Father, you see the unspoken needs of each heart under this roof: the child who longs to be noticed, the partner who quietly carries burdens, the parent who hides fatigue behind duty. Touch each one with your comfort. Let our home become a sanctuary where every person feels safe to rest, to be honest, to begin again. Replace the sharpness of criticism with encouragement, the heaviness of expectation with grace. Let laughter return easily, and let forgiveness move swiftly between us. Teach me to notice the small ways love can be given: a patient answer, a warm glance, a word withheld when anger rises. These are offerings too. Let me serve not from obligation but from affection. When I cook, when I clean, when I listen, remind me that these are acts of worship if done with care. Transform daily chores into opportunities for compassion. Each task an unspoken prayer that says, I see you. You matter, Lord. I ask for wisdom to lead with gentleness and to follow with trust. In moments of disagreement, help me remember that winning the argument is not the same as keeping the peace. Let me listen not only to words, but to what hearts are trying to say beneath them. When apologies are needed, give me courage to begin first. When tension lingers, let me be the bridge, not the barrier. Father, bless the table that gathers us. Let it be a place of nourishment for more than the body. May conversations there build connection instead of comparison, gratitude instead of complaint. When we break bread, remind us of all who hunger physically, emotionally, spiritually. Expand our table with generosity, even if all we can offer is warmth and time. Let no one leave feeling unseen. There are families, Lord, who are scattered by distance or divided by hurt. I lift them to you. For every child estranged from a parent, every marriage strained by silence, every home marked by absence, I ask for the miracle of renewal. Heal what years have hardened. Soften what pride has built. Teach us all that reconciliation often begins with a single humble word. Restore what love once started but time neglected. God, I ask also for protection over my household. Guard us from what steals peace, from resentment that festers, from worry that chokes joy, from comparison that blinds gratitude. Let our home not be defined by possessions but by presence. Let its air be light with laughter, its nights wrapped in calm, its mornings renewed by hope. Keep bitterness from crossing the threshold, and let faith stand watch at every door. Father, in every generation of my family, let grace run deeper than failure. Let mercy rewrite old stories. Let your love be the inheritance that outlasts wealth or reputation. Teach us to celebrate one another's differences instead of fearing them, to speak blessing instead of judgment, to create a rhythm of belonging that no failure can undo. As I sit here in the quiet morning, I can almost hear the echoes of past meals' voices that once filled the table. moments of joy and tears intertwined. Some who once sat there are gone now, but their love lingers like warmth in the air. Remind me that the table is not only a place of eating, but of memory, of prayer, of forgiveness. Let it be where heaven and earth meet in the ordinary grace of togetherness. Now, as daylight pours through the window, I imagine this home touched by that same light, every corner softened, every tension thawed. I feel gratitude rise for the gift of belonging, for the miracle of shared life. You have placed me among these souls not by accident, but by purpose. Here, I am both teacher and student of love. So, Lord, help me carry this awareness into the rest of the day. Let every word, every gesture, every shared moment nourish more than the body. It must feed the spirit. Make our home a quiet reflection of your heart, a place where weary hearts are fed, where forgiveness is never withheld, and where love keeps multiplying like bread in your hands. Father, as I think of the home you have blessed me with, my heart expands further toward those beyond its walls, the people you have placed in my life as companions, guides, and mirrors along this journey. The warmth of belonging does not end at family. It reaches outward, weaving threads that form a circle of friendship, mentorship, and shared humanity. I see now how deeply we shape each other, how faith grows stronger in community than in isolation. So this morning, I lift to you every soul who walks beside me, whether for a season or a lifetime. Lord, I thank you for the friends who have stayed through storms, the ones who have seen my flaws yet refused to turn away. Their laughter has lifted my weariness. Their honesty has sharpened my character. Their presence has softened my solitude. They are your quiet gifts, answers to prayers I did not know how to pray. Teach me to treasure them without possession, to love them without condition, to support them without expectation. Let me be as faithful to them as they have been to me. God, I ask for discernment in every relationship. Not every voice that surrounds me speaks life. Some drain instead of fill. Some flatter instead of build. Give me wisdom to recognize the difference between companionship and distraction, between comfort that heals and comfort that keeps me from growth. Let me walk with those who inspire integrity, who draw me closer to truth rather than away from it. And when I must release certain ties, help me do so gently, without bitterness, trusting that not every connection is meant to last forever. Father, bless the mentors you have placed along my path, those who lead not by command but by example, who pour wisdom without seeking recognition. Their guidance has steadied me when my own understanding wavered. Let me listen more than I speak in their presence. Teach me humility to receive correction without defense and gratitude to honor their time. May I one day offer the same patience to others that has been offered to me. Lord, I pray also for the strength to become a source of encouragement within my circle. Let my presence be a refuge, my words a reminder of worth. When friends falter, keep me from judgment. When they succeed, keep envy far from me. Let celebration come easily from my heart. Give me eyes to notice the silent struggles behind their smiles. Sometimes comfort does not require answers, only presence. Teach me to be still enough to offer that gift. God, I lift to you the friends with whom distance has grown, whether through time, misunderstanding, or the natural drift of seasons. If reconciliation is possible, open that door. If silence is necessary, let it carry peace instead of regret. Remind me that love does not vanish with absence. It simply changes form. Let me remember them with kindness, not nostalgia that clings, but gratitude that releases. Father, build in me the courage to form new bonds. Even when past hurt makes me cautious, friendship is a risk, but it is also a reflection of your heart risking rejection for the sake of connection. When I meet someone new, help me see them not through the lens of fear, but of curiosity. Teach me to listen before assuming, to see potential where others see difference. Let hospitality become a habit, not an event. Lord, I bring to you those within my circle who are struggling today, the ones battling unseen wars, the ones smiling while breaking inside. Wrap them in comfort they can feel. Let me be sensitive to the Spirit's prompting when they need a call, a message, a simple reminder that they are not forgotten. If their faith is dimming, let my light help them find it again. Remind me that encouragement is not wasted even when unnoticed. God, I also ask for protection over my relationships. Guard them from gossip that corrodes, pride that divides, and neglect that cools love. Let me communicate truthfully and listen fully. Teach me to ask forgiveness quickly when I wound, and to extend it freely when I am wronged. Relationships built on grace can withstand what perfection cannot. Make grace our common language. Father, remind me that friendship is a ministry, not a convenience. Each person I meet carries a story only you fully know. Use me as a gentle witness to their journey. When I have nothing wise to offer, let kindness speak for me. When I grow weary of people's demands, renew my compassion. Remind me that I, too, have been carried by others' prayers, lifted by their patience, and shaped by their faith. As the morning light grows richer, I see how your design for community reflects your own nature relationship woven into creation itself. The sun shares warmth with the earth, rivers feed the sea, trees breathe what we exhale. Everything lives in connection. And in that pattern, you remind me that no one was made to walk alone. So let me live aware of this sacred web you have woven, grateful, responsible, and generous with the love I have been given. Now, as I prepare to step into this day, I carry with me the quiet intention to be present wherever you place me, whether it is a brief exchange or a lifelong bond. Let me leave each person better than I found them. Let my friendship echo your kindness, my mentorship mirror your wisdom, and my presence remind others of peace. For in loving well, I know I am walking in step with you. Father, as I reflect on the grace of friendship and the sacredness of connection, I feel you leading me deeper to the place where love meets its greatest test. Forgiveness. It is one thing to speak of peace, another to live it when wounds still ache. Forgiveness does not come easily to me. It stretches the soul, demanding release where pain still clings. Yet I know that without it, my heart remains half closed, unable to hold the fullness of your freedom. So here I am, Lord, ready to open that door, trembling but willing. You have taught me that forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing, but about freeing. It is not an endorsement of what was wrong, but a refusal to be chained to it. The longer I hold resentment, the more it holds me. It hardens my voice, stiffens my spirit, and turns memories into prisons. I do not want to live guarded by bitterness anymore. Teach me to unclench what I have carried too long, the words left unsaid, the apologies never spoken, the betrayals I still replay in secret. Let me breathe again in the open air of mercy. Lord, you see the places I am still raw, the faces that flash in memory with a mix of anger and sadness. You know the moments when I tried to forgive but found myself circling back to pain. I bring those moments to you, one by one. I speak their names in the silence of this prayer. I ask you to meet me there, where human strength ends and divine compassion begins. Soften me without shaming me. Heal me without hurrying me. Let forgiveness be a process, not a performance. God, show me how to forgive as you do thoroughly, freely, without calculation. You hold nothing over my head. Even though I have given you reason, your mercy keeps no ledger. You love first, not after proof of remorse. Teach me that kind of courage. Let me see that forgiving does not mean losing power. It means reclaiming peace. Let me understand that mercy is not weakness. It is wisdom that refuses to live poisoned. Father, I ask for strength to forgive the deep wounds, the ones that altered who I became. Some hurts are carved into the timeline of my life. They shaped how I see trust, how I approach love, how I protect myself. But you remind me that healing cannot come while I clutch the past like armor. So I place these old memories before you, the ones I have never fully released. Take them gently. Write grace across the places where pain once wrote its name. There are others, too. Lord, those I have hurt, knowingly or not. The thought humbles me. I ask for the grace to face my part in their pain. If reconciliation is possible, give me the humility to seek it. If it is not, grant me the peace of repentance and the courage to live differently. Let my growth be my apology when words cannot reach. Forgiveness also asks that I release myself. This is often the hardest part. I replay my own failures as if punishment could rewrite them. I hold on to guilt as though it proves love. But guilt never heals, it only repeats the wound. Teach me to receive the mercy I so easily preach but struggle to believe. Let your forgiveness become the truth I finally accept. That I am not defined by my worst moments, but by your unrelenting grace. Lord, I know forgiveness is a discipline, not a single act. There will be days when old bitterness stirs, when scars throb again under the weight of memory. When that happens, remind me to forgive again, not as failure, but as faithfulness. Let me see it as daily bread for the soul, a nourishment that sustains, not a milestone to finish. Each time I release resentment, make space for love to return, stronger and softer than before. Father, I also ask that you teach me how to forgive the small things quickly, the careless word, the forgotten promise, the misunderstanding that could grow if left unattended. Help me not to let minor grievances accumulate until they become walls. Let kindness interrupt irritation, empathy replace assumption. Keep my heart light enough to move freely through each day, unburdened by grudges too small to deserve my energy. God, I thank you for showing me that forgiveness is not the erasure of justice, but its transformation. When I forgive, I hand over what I cannot resolve to the one who judges rightly. I let go, not because they deserve it, but because you have taught me I am not meant to carry that weight. Vengeance is a language I was never meant to speak. My heart was made for peace, and peace is found in letting go. The morning light stretches higher now, illuminating everything it touches without discrimination. It falls on rooftops and broken fences alike, on gardens and empty streets. That is how I want to love without choosing who is worthy. Let the light of forgiveness flow from me as naturally as sunrise, touching both those who cherish me and those who wronged me. Father, let forgiveness become my rhythm. When I am tempted to rehearse hurt, let me remember healing instead. When pride whispers that I am owed something, remind me that grace cancels debts. When I feel fragile, remind me that mercy strengthens, not weakens. Make forgiveness my first language, not my last resort. As I sit in this growing light, something inside begins to ease the quiet release of old burdens, loosening their hold. I realize now that forgiveness was never about others changing. It was about me becoming free enough to love again. You have been patient through every hesitation, steady through every return to bitterness. And now, as the morning completes its bloom, I understand that to forgive is not to forget pain, but to transform it into peace. It is to open the locked door of my heart and finally step into the wide, sunlit space of grace. Father, as forgiveness settles into my spirit like sunlight after rain, I feel the quiet awakening of purpose. The heart unburdened begins to beat differently, steadier, lighter, ready to reach outward again. I sense you calling me now to move beyond healing into sharing, to carry outward what you have been cultivating within. You have not poured peace into me so I could keep it hidden. You have healed my wounds, not only to restore me, but to make me a vessel of comfort for others. And so this morning, I ask you to show me how to carry your goodness into the world with grace and courage. Lord, it humbles me to realize that my ordinary life can become a message. I do not need a platform to speak truth. I only need a heart that listens and hands willing to serve. Every word I speak, every choice I make, every glance of compassion can tell of your kindness. Yet too often I underestimate the small moments, the quiet smile, the gentle reply, the time given to someone who needs to be heard. These are not insignificant gestures. They are seeds of your kingdom. Teach me to scatter them freely, trusting that you will make them grow in ways I may never see. God, let me carry good news not only in speech, but in presence. Let my life radiate peace that others can feel without explanation. When I enter a room, let tension ease. When I listen, let understanding take root. When I act, let love be unmistakable. The world does not need louder voices, it needs calmer hearts. Help me to be that calm, that steady reminder that goodness still lives among us. Father, I pray for courage to live differently in a world that often rewards noise and speed. Teach me to move quietly yet powerfully, to choose compassion where cynicism seems easier, to believe in the possibility of redemption, even when others call it naive. Let me remember that carrying good news means reflecting hope when fear dominates the air, offering kindness when anger feels justified, and holding faith when despair tries to define the story. There will be days when I doubt that what I offer matters, when I feel small against the vastness of pain and injustice. In those moments, remind me that every act of love, however small, ripples beyond sight. A word spoken in patience, a gesture of mercy, a prayer whispered for someone who will never know it all counts in the unseen economy of heaven. Let me be faithful, not because it is easy, but because goodness is never wasted. Lord, help me also to carry good news to those who seem least deserving, those whose actions or words make love difficult. They, too, are longing for redemption, even if they do not know how to ask. Teach me to see beyond behavior into the brokenness beneath it. Let my compassion extend where convenience would stop. When I am tempted to withhold kindness as punishment, remind me that you never treated me that way. The love you give is not earned, it is given, relentless and free. Father, I lift up those who cross my path today, the stranger I may pass on the street, the coworker carrying hidden grief, the friend who laughs to disguise pain. Let my eyes be open to their quiet signals. Let me sense what words are needed and what silence is wiser. Use me as an instrument of peace, not through grand gestures, but through simple faithfulness. I do not want to impress the world. I want to serve it, God, protect me from pride disguised as purpose. Let me never see myself as a savior, only as a messenger. The news I carry is not about me. It is about you, about the endless mercy that continues to surprise even the weary. Keep me humble enough to know that sometimes good news looks like washing another's feet, like forgiving first, like showing up when it would be easier to walk away. Let me measure success not by applause, but by faithfulness to what love asks. Father, when I grow tired of giving, refill me. Remind me that joy multiplies through generosity, not through holding back. When kindness feels one-sided, strengthen me with compassion that does not depend on reciprocity. When the world's pain feels too heavy, remind me that I am not carrying it alone. You go before me, beside me, and within me, turning every act of service into something eternal. This morning light continues to widen, and I can feel its warmth on my face. It reminds me that light never argues with darkness. It simply shines. That is what I want my life to be, an unspoken testimony that light still wins. Let me walk through this day quietly, illuminating the spaces I enter, not by preaching but by being. Let my smile offer reassurance, my patience reflect grace, and my kindness open hearts that have long been closed. Father, teach me the art of gentle influence. Let me move through the world as one who blesses, not one who burdens. When others encounter me, let them sense peace without knowing why. Let my kindness linger longer than my words, my presence heal more than my advice. I do not need recognition. I only need to be faithful to the purpose of spreading what you have already given me. So as I rise from this moment of prayer, I carry your goodness with me not as weight, but as light. I step into the world aware that every interaction is sacred, every encounter an opportunity to leave a trace of love. The same mercy that found me this morning will flow through me if I stay open. And somewhere, unseen, a heart may begin to hope again, simply because light passed through mine. Father, as I carry your goodness into the world, I realize that the path of faith is not always smooth. The very act of walking in light sometimes draws shadows near. To love deeply is to open oneself to loss. To stand for truth is to invite resistance. Yet even as challenges arise, I sense your quiet assurance beneath it all, a reminder that faith is not proven in comfort, but in endurance. So this morning, I come not asking for an easier way, but for a stronger heart to walk the way you have chosen for me. Lord, you have never promised me a life without pain, but you have promised that pain will never have the final word. I have seen how hardship can purify what comfort often clouds. When everything seems secure, my trust grows lazy. When the ground shakes, I remember who my foundation truly is. Trials strip away the unnecessary, revealing what endures. And though I have resisted suffering in the past, I begin to see that it has been one of your gentlest teachers reminding me that strength is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to surrender to it. God, there are mornings when courage feels far away. Doubt slips in quietly, convincing me that I am too weak, too small, too late. The weight of the world presses hard, and the silence of unanswered prayers makes me question whether you still hear. Yet even in that silence, there is something holy. It teaches me to listen differently, to hear you not in thunder or triumph, but in the steady rhythm of perseverance. You whisper, "Keep walking." And somehow, that is enough. Father, I confess that I do not always understand your timing. The waiting seasons stretch longer than my patience, and sometimes I mistake delay for neglect. But time, in your hands, is not wasted. What feels like stagnation is often preparation. You are shaping roots beneath the surface, deepening trust where sight cannot reach. Teach me to rest in that unseen work. When the fruit has not yet come, let me find joy in tending the soil. Lord, when suffering comes not as a storm, but as a slow erosion, when it takes the form of loneliness, disappointment, or weariness that lingers, remind me that you are just as present there. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet choice to rise again, to keep showing up, to keep believing. Help me find you in the steady rhythm of faithfulness, in the act of continuing when nothing feels certain. Let endurance become a form of worship. God, give me wisdom to see trials not as punishment, but as invitation. The invitation to trust you more deeply, to grow more compassionate, to surrender more fully when circumstances push me to my limits. May it be there that I finally discover how limitless your grace truly is. Let me meet hardship with curiosity, rather than despair, asking, not why is this happening to me, but what are you forming in me through this? If I can see the purpose, even faintly, I can endure the process. Father, remind me of the countless others who have walked this road before me. The prophets, the saints, the everyday believers who clung to faith when everything else fell away. Their strength was not born of certainty, but of trust. Let their stories anchor me when I feel adrift. If they could keep believing through fire and flood, I too can stand. Let their endurance remind me that faith, tested and proven, becomes the light that guides others. There are moments, Lord, when fear tempts me to retreat, to withdraw into comfort, to choose safety over calling. But you did not design me for a timid faith. You call me to walk through the valley, not around it. When I tremble, remind me that courage is not the absence of trembling, but the decision to move forward anyway. Let my steps be guided not by fear of failure, but by trust in your faithfulness. God, even as I pray this, I know there will be days when I stumble, when doubt speaks louder than hope. But let me remember that falling is not the end of faith. It is part of its formation. Each time I rise again, grace deepens its roots within me. Let me measure my growth not by perfection, but by persistence. Let my scars become reminders of battles survived, not wounds to hide. Through every challenge, make me softer in spirit, not harder, wiser, not cynical, grounded, not proud. Father, when trials come to those I love, give me compassion deeper than advice. Let me offer presence instead of platitudes. Teach me to stand with them in silence when words fail, to hold space for their tears without trying to fix what only you can heal. Let me reflect your comfort, not as one who has all the answers, but as one who has learned to trust even without them. And when I see light returning after the storm, let gratitude rise naturally. Teach me to celebrate the growth that suffering produced, the empathy, the resilience, the humility that cannot be learned any other way. Let me not rush past the lesson once the pain has eased. Every trial leaves behind a quiet wisdom, a new understanding of grace. Help me to carry it forward gently, using what I have endured to help others endure as well. Now, as the morning matures into fullness, I can feel a steadiness settle within me. The air is clearer, as if the world itself has exhaled after a long night. I sense you walking beside me, not removing the weight from my shoulders, but sharing it. And in that shared burden, I find peace, The path may twist and climb, but the destination remains the same, closer to you, deeper in love, stronger in faith. So, Lord, I rise today not afraid of what may come, but anchored in the assurance that nothing can separate me from your presence. Whether day brings joy or difficulty, calm or storm, I will walk forward knowing you walk with me. And in that truth, I am already victorious, not because I avoid trials, but because I no longer face them alone. Father, as I walk through trials and find your steady presence beside me, I begin to see how gratitude transforms everything it touches, even pain. Once unbearable, softens when seen through thankfulness. The longer I journey with you, the more I realize that gratitude is not a reaction to comfort, but a response to awareness. It is the vision that sees blessings hidden beneath burdens, light flickering behind shadows. And so this morning, I ask you to teach me again how to live with a thankful heart, not occasionally, but continuously. Lord, I confess that I often forget how much grace surrounds me. My eyes grow accustomed to miracles until they feel ordinary. The sunrise becomes background. Laughter fades into noise. Love becomes expected instead of cherished. I move quickly through the hours, noticing what is missing more than what is present. But when I pause, even briefly, I see how much goodness fills every corner of my life. The air that carries breath, the warmth that greets my skin, the kindness of those who love me despite my flaws, these are your daily gifts. Let me not mistake abundance for routine. God, gratitude is not always easy. There are seasons when loss overshadows gain, when prayers seem unanswered, when silence feels endless. Yet even then, gratitude becomes an act of defiance against despair. It says, even now, there is beauty. It says, even here, you are near. Teach me that thankfulness is not denial of pain, but declaration of faith. It chooses to see beyond what hurts to what heals. It believes that your goodness endures, even when circumstances change. Let me hold that truth tightly when my hands are empty. Father, open my eyes to the subtle miracles, the ones I overlook while chasing larger dreams. The smile of a stranger, the resilience of a child, the scent of rain on dry earth, the comfort of familiar voices. These quiet wonders reveal your fingerprints more than grand events ever could. They remind me that you are not only the God of mountains, but also of small mercies, of moments so simple they could be missed, if not noticed with reverence. Help me slow down enough to notice, to name them, to whisper thanks before they pass. Lord, I want gratitude to shape my perspective, not just my prayers. Let it influence how I speak, how I respond, how I endure when frustration rises. Let thanksgiving interrupt complaint. When anxiety steals breath, let remembrance restore peace. When envy whispers that others have more, let contentment answer that I already have enough. Gratitude turns scarcity into sufficiency, chaos into calm. Let it be the rhythm of my mind, steadying me when life tilts. God, I also thank you for what you have withheld, for doors that did not open, for timing that felt delayed, for losses that taught me depth no comfort could. In hindsight, I see how those moments protected me, redirected me, refined me. Gratitude for unanswered prayers is a mature kind of trust, the belief that your wisdom outpaces my desires. Let me learn to thank you not only for what was given, but also for what was kept back in love. Father, I thank you for the people who walk with me, the ones who speak truth when I am lost in my own thoughts, who forgive my shortcomings who reflect your kindness through their care, and for those who challenged me, who wounded or misunderstood me, I thank you too. They taught me patience, humility, and the grace of perspective. Gratitude for others is not about perfect relationships, but about recognizing the divine purpose in every connection. Let me appreciate people not for what they provide, but for who they reveal me to be through their presence. Lord, help me carry gratitude beyond words into action. Let thankfulness make me generous, turning blessings into blessings shared. When I have enough, let me give freely. When I have little, let me still offer warmth. Gratitude without generosity becomes self-contained, but gratitude expressed through compassion multiplies. Let every act of kindness I offer be a form of thanksgiving returned to you. God, I also ask that you remind me to express gratitude to others before time silences the chance. Too often I assume they know, yet unspoken appreciation withers like a flower never watered. Let me say the words thank you for love, for patience, for presence. Let me write them, speak them, live them. Gratitude left unsaid benefits no one. Gratitude shared nourishes everyone. There are mornings, Father, when I wake heavy, struggling to find reasons to rejoice. On those days, teach me to start small to thank you for breath, for sunlight, for the chance to begin again. Gratitude grows when tended, even in sorrow. Let my heart practice it until it becomes instinct. The more I give thanks, the more I see how every moment carries grace waiting to be recognized. As I look around now, the morning feels brighter not because the world has changed, but because I am seeing it differently. Gratitude has cleared the fog that worry built. I can feel peace return, gentle and quiet, like sunlight finding its way through leaves. The day before me is no longer a list of demands, but an invitation to notice, appreciate, to live aware. So, Lord, let gratitude accompany me through every season. In joy, let it make celebration pure. In sorrow, let it make endurance bearable. In abundance, let it guard humility. In scarcity, let it protect hope. Let thanksgiving become the language my heart speaks fluently, morning after morning, until it shapes every thought, every breath, every step I take through this world filled with your unseen blessings. Father, as gratitude deepens within me, I begin to sense another transformation, quietly unfolding the renewal of my mind. I realize that thanksgiving is not only an emotion, but a gateway, a shift in perception that allows your truth to take root. The more I give thanks, the clearer my thoughts become, as if each word of gratitude washes dust from the windows of understanding. Through this clarity, you invite me to think differently, to see not through fear or habit, but through faith. This morning, come asking for that renewal, the reshaping of my inner world, so that my mind may align with yours. Lord, my thoughts often wander toward what is broken. They circle around worries, doubts, and the subtle whispers of inadequacy. Sometimes they replay old failures as though reliving them could rewrite the ending. Other times they rush ahead, imagining outcomes that may never come. In this swirl of noise, peace becomes distant, and I lose sight of your promises. But you, Lord, call me back to stillness. You remind me that renewal begins with surrender, letting go of thoughts that no longer serve truth, and replacing them with the quiet assurance of your word. God, teach me to guard the gates of my mind with discernment, Not every idea deserves entry. Not every voice deserves belief. There are patterns I have allowed to linger: comparison, self-doubt, fear of failure that have shaped how I see myself. But I am not defined by those voices. I am defined by yours. Speak louder within me than the echoes of the world. When negativity rises, let your truth answer it. When my imagination builds castles of fear, let faith dismantle them brick by brick until peace stands firm again. Father, renew in me the ability to think with hope. Hope is not wishful fantasy, but the steady conviction that goodness still unfolds even when unseen. Let me dwell not on scarcity, but on sufficiency. Not on what is missing, but on what remains. Fill my thoughts with possibility instead of limitation. When I begin to say, I can T, remind me that through you, I can. When my mind leans toward worry, train it instead to lean toward prayer. Let each anxious thought become an invitation to speak with you rather than spiral inward. Lord, I want to think with compassion too, not only about myself, but about others. The renewal of the mind includes the renewal of perspective. Help me to see people not through the lens of judgment, but through empathy. When someone acts harshly, remind me to consider their unseen pain. When someone falters, help me to remember how often I have needed patience. Let my thoughts about others always tilt toward mercy, not suspicion, for the mind transformed by love cannot coexist with bitterness. God, I ask you to cleanse my imagination, that creative space within where dreams and fears alike are born. Let my imagination become a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Fill it with visions of hope, not worry, with images of reconciliation, not revenge. Let me use this sacred faculty not to magnify problems, but to envision solutions. Not to dwell in what could go wrong, but to imagine what grace can make right. Let every thought be a seed that grows into peace, not unrest. Father, I also ask for the renewal of focus. The world pulls my attention in countless directions: screens, opinions, endless noise. Distraction has become its own form of bondage. Teach me the discipline of attention, the holiness of simplicity. Let me focus on what truly matters: kindness over success, presence over productivity, meaning over motion. Help me to slow down enough to think clearly, to listen before reacting, to choose reflection before response. The renewed mind is not hurried. It moves in step with your rhythm. Lord, when my thoughts turn inward too long, free me from self-absorption. Let me not analyze my life so deeply that I forget to live it. Self-awareness is a gift, but self-preoccupation is a cage. Replace overthinking with trust, overanalyzing with acceptance. Teach me that peace does not come from perfect understanding, but from perfect surrender. Even when I do not comprehend the path ahead, I can rest in knowing that you do. God, let your truth rewrite the stories I tell myself. Where I have believed I am not enough, remind me that I am chosen. Where I have feared rejection, remind me that I am known. Where I have measured my worth by performance, teach me to rest in belonging. The renewed mind does not chase approval. It stands secure in identity. Let me think from love, not for love. Let my thoughts rise from the awareness that I am already held. Father, I ask you to help me practice gratitude, not only in my words, but in my thinking patterns. Let thankfulness become the lens through which I interpret my circumstances. Instead of I have to, let me say I get to, instead of why me. Let me whisper thank you for trusting me with this season. Gratitude rewires worry into wonder, And that transformation begins in thought long before it reaches speech. As the morning light grows stronger, I feel my mind clearing, like fog dissolving under sun. The clutter of restless thoughts quiets, replaced by an inner spaciousness, a mental stillness that feels like worship. I can sense your spirit breathing through my awareness, shaping new ways of thinking, softening old fears. My mind, once crowded, now feels like open air, ready to hold peace instead of panic. So, Lord, let this renewal continue beyond this prayer. When the day grows loud, remind me to return to this stillness. When the world's noise tries to reclaim my focus, help me to protect the sanctuary of my thoughts. Let what I meditate on become a reflection of who you are, true, pure, loving, and eternal. For a renewed mind does not just think differently, it lives differently. And as I step into this day, may my thoughts, cleansed and centered in you, create a life that radiates quiet strength, gentle wisdom, and unwavering peace. Father, as my mind grows quiet and my thoughts align with truth, I begin to understand that peace is born not only from clarity, but from surrender. The more I try to control every detail of my life, the more tangled my spirit becomes. But when I release my grip, when I let you take the lead, I find a freedom that cannot be achieved through effort. This morning, my heart leans toward that freedom. I am learning that surrender is not defeat. It is trust dressed in humility. It is the sacred exchange between striving and resting, between fear and faith. Lord, there have been times when I thought surrender meant giving up, laying down dreams, walking away from purpose, losing the right to hope. But now I see that true surrender is not the end of desire. It is the purification of it. It means offering you what I hold most tightly, not because it does not matter, but because you matter more. It means trusting that what you choose to return will be better, fuller, truer. It means living open-handed, unafraid of both gain and loss. God, I bring before you the plans I have made. You know how I have sketched the future in my imagination, how I have drawn lines of certainty around things I thought were mine, but life has its own rhythm, one that often diverges from the blueprint I create. And every time it does, I find myself standing at a crossroads, clinging to control or stepping into faith. Teach me to choose faith, even when the path ahead feels unclear. Let me find comfort not in my own foresight, but in your sovereignty. Father, I surrender not only my plans, but also my pace. The world moves in haste, pushing me to match its tempo. I rush to accomplish, to fix, to prove. Yet you call me to move slower, to live at the speed of grace, where meaning outweighs motion and purpose is not measured by productivity. Help me to trust your timing. When progress feels slow, remind me that delay is not denial. When waiting feels like wasting, remind me that growth often happens unseen. Let me rest in the truth that you are never late, even when I feel behind. Lord, I surrender my need to understand everything. I have wrestled with questions that stretch beyond my comprehension. Why pain lingers, why prayers go unanswered, why good people suffer. My mind seeks explanations, but my heart longs for peace. Teach me that peace does not require answers. It requires trust. Let me accept the mystery without losing faith. Let me stand in awe rather than anxiety, believing that even when I cannot trace your hand, I can still trust your heart. God, I surrender my fears, the subtle ones that hide behind logic and the loud ones that keep me awake at night. Fear tells me I am alone. unprotected, vulnerable to loss. But you remind me that surrender is the safest place to stand, for in it I am surrounded by your strength. Teach me to lay my worries down like burdens at the edge of a river and watch them drift away. Let me replace fear not with denial, but with faith, the calm conviction that you are already where I am afraid to go. Father, I also surrender my past, the regrets that whisper shame, the memories that hold me hostage, the mistakes I keep revisiting as if reliving them could undo them. I release them into your mercy. Let me stop trying to rewrite what has already been redeemed. The past may explain me, but it no longer defines me. Help me to forgive myself where I have fallen short, and to thank you for turning even my failures into foundations of wisdom. Every scar is a story of survival. Every weakness is an entry point for grace. Lord, I surrender the outcomes I cannot control. People's opinions, unforeseen changes, unexpected endings, they all tempt me to grasp tighter. But the tighter I hold, the less peace I find, so I release them one by one. The relationship that may not last, the opportunity that may fade, the dream that may change shape. I trust that if it is meant to stay, you will sustain it. And if it is meant to leave, you will fill the space it vacates with something better. God, surrender also means releasing who I thought I needed to be. The perfect version of myself I chase in secret, the one who never doubts, never fails, never breaks. That person is an illusion. You love me not as an idea, but as I am unfinished yet deeply known. Teach me to rest in authenticity instead of striving for perfection. Let surrender become the soil where acceptance grows, where I can finally breathe as the person you created, not the one I keep trying to perform. Father, let surrender shape how I meet this day. When challenges arise, let me respond with patience instead of panic. When things do not go according to plan, remind me that my peace is not dependent on control, but on connection to you. Let me live with an open heart, open to surprise, open to change, open to the subtle ways you redirect me toward what truly matters. As the morning brightens, I can feel the quiet strength that comes from letting go. The air feels lighter, my thoughts less crowded. There is beauty here in trusting what I cannot see, in yielding without losing dignity, in believing that surrender is not the end, but the beginning of deeper faith. So, Lord, let this day be an offering of trust. Let surrender become the posture of my soul, the willingness to release so that I may receive, to yield so that I may grow, to rest so that I may rise renewed. For when my hands are open, my heart is free, and when my will bows to yours, peace returns like a gentle tide, carrying me once again into the calm of your unshakable love. Father, as surrender settles into my spirit, a quiet peace begins to flow through the places once ruled by striving. It feels like stepping into still water after years of restless motion, like finding that the thing I have been chasing has been waiting within me all along. In the stillness that surrender brings, I begin to understand what it means to live not merely for peace, but in peace to let it dwell within me as naturally as breath. This morning, I want to stay there, in that sacred awareness where your presence and peace are one. Lord, you have shown me that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of trust. It is not found in perfect circumstances, but in perfect alignment with you, even when life swirls with uncertainty. Your peace remains steady, unbroken, unhurried. It does not depend on the weather of the world. It comes from the climate of the soul anchored in faith, I have spent so long trying to control my environment in search of calm. But now I see that the stillness I long for begins inside, where you reside. God, I ask that you help me protect this peace like a flame in the wind. So many distractions wait to steal it, fear disguised as caution, anger dressed as justice, worry pretending to be responsibility. They all whisper that I must react, defend, prove, or fix. But your voice says otherwise. Be still. When the world demands noise, you invite silence. When everything rushes, you call me to rest. When my mind tries to outrun grace, you simply wait, patient as sunrise, until I slow down enough to feel you again. Father, teach me to live with an undivided heart. Too often I live split between faith and fear, gratitude and anxiety, presence and preoccupation. My body is here, but my mind runs miles ahead, imagining problems that do not exist yet. Let me live wholly, right where my feet are. Help me to trust that peace is not something I find after everything is resolved. It is something I choose in the middle of the unresolved. When I stop waiting for conditions to change, I discover that your peace has been here the whole time, quietly waiting for my attention. Lord, I thank you for the way peace changes how I see others. When I live in anxiety, I project that restlessness onto those around me. I expect too much, forgive too little, and speak too quickly. But when I live in your peace, compassion flows naturally. I no longer see people as threats or burdens, but as souls walking through their own storms. Let peace become the lens through which I see the world, not naive, but merciful. Let it soften my tone, steady my reactions, and turn my interactions into moments of grace. God, I also ask that you help me live at peace with myself. There are parts of me I have long judged, mistakes I still rehearse, flaws I still hide. Yet you meet even those places with gentleness. You do not shame. You invite. You do not condemn. You restore. Help me to see myself as you do not perfect, but perfectly loved. Let inner peace be born from that realization, that nothing I do can make you love me more, and nothing I fail to do can make you love me less. Let acceptance replace criticism, patience replace striving, and kindness replace self-doubt. Father, let peace become the rhythm of my decisions. When I am faced with choices, let me listen not only to logic, to the quiet witness of peace within. If my heart feels agitated, teach me to pause. If my spirit feels settled, let me move forward with confidence. You guide not through pressure, but through peace. Let me learn to recognize it as your signature, gentle yet firm, steady yet alive. Lord, in moments when the world's chaos tries to pull me back, anchor me again in your presence. Remind me that no external noise can drown out the voice of peace within. When I feel surrounded by conflict, help me to remember that I am surrounded by you. When I encounter tension, let me respond with calm. When I face hostility, let me answer with patience. Living in peace does not mean avoiding difficulty. It means carrying serenity wherever difficulty follows. God, I also pray for the ability to bring peace into places that lack it. Let me be a carrier of calm into anxious rooms, a gentle presence amid unrest. Let my demeanor reflect the still waters of your spirit. When others encounter me, let them sense tranquility, not because I have mastered life, because I have been mastered by grace. Let peace radiate outward in ways that words cannot capture. It may not fix every problem, but it can transform every atmosphere. Father, let peace guide my evenings as well as my mornings. When the day's noise begins to fade, Let gratitude and stillness rise again. Teach me the art of closing the day with the same trust that opened it, releasing what remains unfinished. Believing that you will handle what I cannot. Let sleep come not as escape, but as surrender. An act of faith that even while I rest, you are still at work. Now, as morning unfolds in light, I feel the deep calm of belonging, the awareness that I am not separate from you, not even for a moment. Peace is not something I must reach for. It lives in me because you live in me. The more I dwell in that truth, the lighter everything feels. I can breathe without tension, think without fear, love without restraint. So, Lord, let this peace remain not as a fragile mood, but as an enduring posture. Let it shape my voice, my choices, my reactions. Let it follow me into every conversation and linger in every room I leave. For when I live in peace, I am living in you. And in that sacred communion, I find the still center where all striving ends and all love begins. Father, as peace settles deeper within me, I feel a quiet readiness, returning the strength, not just to rest in you, but to walk with you. Peace has steadied my heart, and now courage begins to rise again like dawn after a long night. I know that faith was never meant to keep me standing still. It was meant to move me forward. The calm you have planted in me is not the end of the journey, but the ground from which perseverance grows. And so, Lord, as this morning unfolds, I ask you to teach me how to walk with steady steps. No matter what lies ahead, Lord, sometimes the path stretches longer than I imagined. What I thought would be a short climb turns into a winding road that tests endurance. There are seasons when progress feels invisible, when effort seems to echo into silence. But you remind me that strength is not proven in the moment of victory, but in the choice to continue when nothing changes. Let me not mistake slow movement for stagnation or silence, for absence. Every step taken in faith, even trembling, is a declaration that I trust you more than I trust my circumstances. God, you know how easily I grow weary. There are days when motivation fades, when inspiration runs dry, when I wake up and wonder if it makes any difference. But you have taught me that perseverance is not powered by emotion, it is sustained by purpose. When my energy falters, let intention lead me. When my enthusiasm fades, let discipline carry me. Remind me that endurance is not glamorous, but it is sacred. It is the quiet strength that builds character and proves love. Father, when I feel the weight of repetition, doing the same good thing again and again without seeing results, help me to remember unseen growth is still growth. A seed buried beneath soil does not stop living just because it is unseen. My faith, too, often germinates in hidden places. Teach me to trust the process when the promise feels far away. Let me rest in the assurance that you are shaping outcomes in silence, waving progress in ways I cannot measure. Lord, I ask you to renew my strength like the eagle's, not to soar above hardship, but to rise above weariness. Teach me how to pace myself in grace. Not every day must be a sprint. Some days are meant to be slow and deliberate. Give me wisdom to pause before exhaustion, to rest before breaking, to breathe before rushing. Let me find balance between persistence and patience, between striving and surrender. True strength is not unending motion. It is rhythmic trust. God, when my steps falter, remind me of the reasons I began. Let me return to the vision you placed in my heart, not as an expectation, but as a compass. Help me remember that purpose is not always about achieving something grand, but about becoming someone grounded. Each act of faith, no matter how small, builds the life you imagined for me. Every day I choose kindness, truth, and love is a victory unseen by crowds, but celebrated by heaven. Father, I also pray for the humility to accept help when my strength runs out. You did not design me to walk alone. Let me recognize your presence in those who encourage me, the ones who remind me to keep going when I forget how. Sometimes you speak through their kindness, sometimes through their patience, sometimes through their mere presence. Let me never be too proud to lean on the grace you send through others. Lord, I bring before you the seasons when the path feels dark and unfamiliar, those stretches of road where my confidence wavers and fear whispers that I have lost direction. In those moments, remind me that you are the lamp to my feet, not the floodlight for the future. You give me just enough illumination for the next step. Because trust grows in increments, not in guarantees. Let me move one faithful step at a time, believing that each step taken in obedience builds a story of strength. God, there will be times when storms return, when peace feels tested and courage feels thin. When that happens, let me remember how far you have already brought me. Let gratitude for past deliverance fuel present endurance. I have walked through valleys before, and you have never failed me. Remind me that I do not walk toward uncertainty, but with certainty that no matter what the landscape looks like, the destination remains the same, closer to you. Father, help me to find joy even in the walking. Not every moment will be miraculous, but every moment can be meaningful. Let me see beauty in consistency, holiness in persistence, and grace in the simple act of showing up. Strength is not only found in conquering mountains. It is found in walking faithfully across plains. The daily rhythm of doing what is right, loving without reward, and believing without proof, that is where endurance becomes worship. Lord, let my perseverance be gentle, not hardened. Do not let struggle make me cynical or self-reliant. Let it refine me, not define me. When I reach for strength, let it come not from willpower, but from willingness, from the quiet decision to keep saying yes to you, even when my emotions say otherwise. Let obedience flow from love, not duty. Let endurance become a melody of trust that never stops, singing beneath the noise of life. Now, as the morning light spills fully across the earth, I feel renewed not by rest alone, but by remembrance. I see that the strength to keep walking does not come from perfection, but from connection. I am not walking alone. I am walking with the one who sustains me, step by step, breath by breath. The journey ahead may still hold unknowns, but I walk into it with calm resolve, knowing that the same grace that carried me this far will carry me farther still. So, Father, as this day unfolds, let me walk steady, not in haste, not in fear, but in trust. Let each step echo faith, each breath carry peace, and each moment bear witness that strength is not found in the destination, but in the simple, steadfast act of continuing with you. Father, as I continue walking in the quiet strength you have given me, I begin to notice how light reveals itself in new ways. It is no longer only around me, it lives within me. The peace I have received, the endurance that has carried me, the trust that has been formed through surrender, Allah, it now glows like a steady flame, guiding me even through uncertainty. The path ahead may twist and fade, but this light does not flicker. It burns with quiet purpose, teaching me to walk not by sight, but by faith illuminated from the inside out. Lord, there are mornings when clouds still linger, when clarity hides behind confusion. In those moments, help me to remember that faith does not erase fog. It helps me move through it. The light you give is not a floodlight revealing every step, but a gentle lamp, enough for the moment, enough for the next breath. And maybe that is all I ever need. Teach me to live by that rhythm, trusting the small circle of light today, knowing that tomorrow's light will arrive when I reach it. God, I ask for eyes that recognize your light even in shadow. Sometimes it comes disguised as kindness in a stranger, as a memory that resurfaces to comfort, as a quiet knowing when I least expect it. Other times, it is hidden in the very challenges I wish away. Let me not despise the darkness that teaches me to value the dawn. Remind me that light is not only for celebration, but for guidance, for direction, for awakening what has grown numb within me. Father, help me to be a bearer of this light in the world. You have not filled me with peace, so that I may keep it tucked away. You have given me warmth, so that I might warm others. Let my words bring calm where confusion reigns. Let my presence carry hope where heaviness lingers. Even when I feel small, remind me that a single light can shift an entire room. The world does not need me to shine brighter than others. It needs me to shine faithfully, reflecting your love with honesty and grace. Lord, there are times when I mistake light for comfort, assuming it will always make things easier. But sometimes, your light exposes what I would rather ignore, the attitudes that need changing, the forgiveness I have withheld, the truths I have avoided. Let me welcome that revelation. Let me thank you not only for the light that soothes, but also for the light that challenges. Purify me until every part of me reflects your truth without distortion, like water clear enough to mirror the sky. God, I know that light travels best through transparency. When I try to pretend, to hide behind control or pride, the glow within me dims. But when I am honest about my struggles, my doubts, my need for you, the light grows stronger. Vulnerability becomes a vessel for grace. Let me live open, authentic, unguarded. Let my imperfections become windows through which others can see your mercy. Father, I think of all the places where darkness still feels thick, the hearts burdened by grief, the homes heavy with silence, the streets filled with fear. I lift them to you now. Let your light find its way into those corners, not through force, but through love. Use me in small ways to carry it there. Through patience, through listening, through compassion that expects nothing in return. Teach me that even when I cannot change the whole world, I can brighten one soul at a time. Lord, I also ask that you remind me of the light's source. In moments of joy, when things go well, I may be tempted to think the glow is my own. Keep me humble. Let me never forget that I am not the fire, but the reflection, not the sun, but the mirror. Without you, I am only glass. With you, I become radiant. Let gratitude keep me grounded, lest I forget that the light I carry is borrowed and sacred. God, there will be days when shadows grow long again, when disappointment tries to dim my hope. In those moments, let memory become my lantern. Let me recall the times you have come through, the nights you have carried me, the dawns that once felt impossible but still arrived. Let remembrance keep faith alive when sight cannot. And when I feel too weak to hold the light, let others carry it for me until I am strong enough to hold it again. Father, I pray that this inner light becomes my compass. Let it guide my choices, not toward what is easy, but toward what is right. Let it lead me away from resentment and into reconciliation, away from fear and toward love. When decisions feel tangled, let me pause and ask, which path preserves peace, honors truth, and draws me closer to you? The answer will always align with the light. As the morning sky stretches open, I see how the light transforms everything it touches. The ordinary becomes beautiful. The unseen becomes vivid. That is what your presence does. It does not always change my circumstances, but it changes how I see them. The same world, under the same sky, feels different when viewed through grace. That awareness is itself a miracle. So, Lord, as I step into this day, let me walk not with haste, but with holy attentiveness. Let me move through each hour aware of the quiet radiance you have placed within me. And when the day grows dim, let me trust that the light will not leave. It only shifts, waiting to rise again. For the one who carries your peace never walks in darkness, because even the night, in your presence, begins to shine. Father, as I reach this quiet morning and look back upon the long road of prayer that has unfolded day after day, I can feel how much has changed within me. Every word spoken, every silence held, every tear released into your presence has shaped something sacred. What began as a search for comfort has become a journey of transformation. Through surrender, through gratitude, through trial and peace, you have gently rewritten my heart. And now, as light begins to bloom once more on the horizon, I see that this is not the end of the path. It is the beginning of a deeper walk with you. Lord, there were mornings when I arrived weary, burdened by uncertainty, unsure whether prayer could truly make a difference. Yet you met me even in my hesitation. You took my trembling words and turned them into strength, my doubts and turned them into devotion. Every time I thought I was speaking into emptiness, you were listening. Every time I thought I was alone, you were already beside me. What a quiet miracle it is to know that even the smallest whisper of faith reaches heaven and returns as peace. God, I thank you for the way this journey has taught me that faith is not a destination, but a rhythm, a living heartbeat that continues even when words fall silent. You have shown me that prayer is not about speaking perfectly, but about showing up honestly. It is about learning to see you not as distant, but as the pulse of every moment, the laughter that heals, the patience that endures, the breath that carries me through another dawn. Through every chapter of this prayer, I have learned that you were never far away. I was simply learning how to notice you. Father, now that this long prayer reaches its closing breath, I feel a deep tenderness for those who have walked with me through it. Each listener, each soul who has taken this journey, carries their own story of loss, of hope, of courage quietly rekindled. To them, I speak these words with gratitude. Thank you for listening, not only with your ears, but with your hearts. Thank you for allowing stillness to find you, for giving these words a home in your spirit. In a world of endless noise, choosing to pray is an act of courage, and choosing to believe again is the most beautiful rebellion of all. Lord, I ask you to bless every heart that has joined this journey. Some came with heavy burdens and found comfort. Others came with questions and discovered peace. And perhaps some are still waiting, still searching, still healing. Let them know that faith grows even in waiting, that sometimes silence is not absence, but the space where your love breathes. Wrap them gently in assurance that their story is still unfolding, that no prayer ever fades unanswered. It simply waits for the right season to bloom. God, I also pray that this time spent together becomes more than words. It becomes a rhythm of living. Let those who have prayed these prayers not leave them behind, but carry them forward into daily life. Let faith become habit, kindness become language, and peace become atmosphere. Let their mornings begin with gratitude, their evenings close in trust, and every moment in between be anchored in your quiet companionship. Let them find you not only in sacred moments, but in ordinary ones, in laughter shared, in forgiveness offered, in hope rekindled after a long night. Father, as this journey of prayer draws toward its still horizon, I ask you to awaken something lasting within us, a faith that breathes through all seasons, resilient and real. Let every challenge remind us that strength is not found in perfection, but in persistence. Let every joy remind us that celebration itself is holy. Let us move forward not as people who have finished a prayer, but as souls who have learned how to live in prayer. Lord, teach us to carry this spirit into the world, to become the gentle hands of hope, the patient listeners, the quiet encouragers who reflect your heart. When others see us, let them sense not our certainty but our peace. Let them feel the quiet radiance of grace that has been kindled through these mornings of reflection. And when darkness returns, as it always does, let the memory of this peace be a small light that never goes out. God, for those listening now, let them feel your nearness in the simple things, the warmth of sunlight, the softness of breath, the stillness that lingers after prayer. These are the subtle ways you remind us that love remains. Let each new dawn whisper a promise that renewal is always possible. No matter what yesterday held, no matter how deep the night has been, the light always returns. Father, I lift up one final gratitude for the sacred connection between hearts across distance and time, united by faith and longing. Every listener who has prayed these words with sincerity has become part of something greater than themselves. Together, we have built a tapestry of trust, woven with threads of hope, stitched by grace. And though our voices may fade after this, the resonance of prayer continues, echoing softly through every sunrise that follows. Lord, I release these final words like a bird into the morning air, free, gentle, unforced. May they land where they are needed most, in the weary soul, in the searching heart, in the quiet places where faith is just beginning to breathe again. Let them remind every listener that prayer does not end here. It simply changes form, becoming the way we walk, the way we love, the way we keep believing. To everyone who has walked this path to its end, thank you for listening, for opening your heart, for keeping faith alive when the world said it was not worth it. Your journey matters. Your presence here matters. And your voice, your quiet, hopeful, beautiful voice matters to heaven more than you know. If these words have touched you, I invite you to share your thoughts, your reflections, your own prayers below. Let this space become a garden of gratitude and testimony, a gathering of souls continuing the conversation that began long before this recording and will continue long after. And before you go, I invite you stay connected. Subscribe to this channel. Share this prayer with those who need it. And return often to renew your faith each morning. Let these words remind you, again and again, that you are never alone. The journey continues, and the light still rises. Outside the window, dawn is breaking, the sky blushes with gentle gold, and the wind moves softly through the trees. Somewhere, a bird begins to sing the sound small yet full of promise. And in that tender stillness, I feel it once more, the quiet pulse of grace, the breath of new beginnings, the whisper of life unfolding again with every sunrise.